From a truck full of bamboo to cubic trees, here are the smartest build hacks you need to know. If you use a fill command to create a massive cube of candles, you'll notice these weird stripy patterns that move around as you turn your head. This is an optical illusion that happens when you create a grid of evenly spaced things. If you place skulk veins all around a barrier block, it almost looks like a block of skulk leaves, and with enough of them, you could build a full-on skulk tree. Get out of here! If you want to keep unwanted guests out of dangerous areas in your world, why not try using this hazard banner? The recognizable radiation symbol is perfect for decorating a nuclear power plant. With just a lightning rod and 2 glass panes, we can make an awesome lightsaber. Since there are plenty of different glass colors, you can make any type of lightsaber you want. Plus, you can swap out the hilt for a different block, like an end rod, iron bar, or candle, to really change up the look. Weirdly enough, melon blocks happen to look a bit like a wavy wallpaper, so if you use them for the walls of a room, it can make the space look pretty unique. By stacking a bunch of decorated pots, you can create awesome totem poles. The different pottery designs are perfect to resemble the main different engravings on a typical totem pole. And you can also add some small wings on the side to really perfect the design. If you want the most unique chair in all of Minecraft, place an armor stand below a campfire like so. We can give it a helmet and fill the campfire up with some sort of food to create this cushion design. Make sure to dye the color of the helmet to match whatever food is on the campfire for extra creativity. Through the use of custom player heads, we can have custom wheels for our Mars rover. The wheels are connected by levers to the main body of the rover, which I absolutely love. You can make SpongeBob in Minecraft. SpongeBob is obviously made from a sponge, but his other details are cleverly made using levers for arms, a spruce trapdoor for his pants, an armor stand for his legs and feet, and my favorite detail, a black candle on top to represent his hat. But we can't forget about Gary. His shell is made from a stripped cherry log with a mangrove trapdoor to add the circular detailing on the side. For his head, we use an oxidized copper slab with a banner to create his eyes. Help! I'm wanted! If you want to make this wanted sign, all you need to do is put your player head into an invisible item frame, and then place a sign on the same block, typing the word wanted in the top row. These signs can act as bounty posters, and you can even include rewards for hunting players down. Everyone knows that mud can be converted to clay by using a dripstone to drain the water out. However, the block in between the mud and dripstone can actually be almost any block you want. So a cool build hack is to use waterlogged copper grates to make it look like the water is flowing through the copper grates to get to the dripstone. With just some fences, sandstone slabs, and signs, you can create a cat playhouse. Having so much fun. Die! With just some bamboo fences, a pot, and a glass pane, we can create this water pump that looks like it's actually pumping water into the pot below. If you want a simple yet creative Christmas tree, try this one. The lights are powered by a line of observers hidden inside the tree's trunk, which extend out across the branches to power the lamps. Now if we cover the whole thing in leaves and add some candles, we have a perfect Christmas tree. With stained glass panes and item frames for the wheels, a lightning rod for the cannon, and an acacia boat so you can sit in it, we've got everything you need for a mini machine of mass destruction. If you place a stake in an invisible item frame, you might notice it looks a bit like a muddy footprint. This could be great for adding some extra details to your forest paths, or even as a way to prank your friends with a trail of footsteps in their house. If you really love your dogs, why not treat them with this luxurious double-decker doghouse? The little dog bowl is made by placing a carpet on top of a decorated pot on the bottom level. Then use stairs and slabs to build the top level. Surround the whole thing in some trapdoors for the walls, and now you've got a cozy fort for your pet. But not for your cats! I'm rich! Look at all these dollar bills I have! You can make your own by using 2 lime dye and a dark green banner. I'm putting it on a shield, and it looks exactly like a dollar bill. They look huge when you hold them in your hand, but by placing them in an item frame makes them the perfect size to be decoration or a counter in a shop. When you place a dragon head in an item frame, you're able to place a lightning rod in front of it, which makes it look like Dragon is holding it in its mouth. If you have access to invisible item frames, you can also put a gold block in on the lightning rod to look like some sort of magic staff. If we use a series of bamboo bows placed between bamboo fences, we can create a convincing bamboo bridge that works in both directions. And since boats have a solid hitbox, you can still walk across like it was made of blocks. By putting some of these stairs in illegal positions with the debug stick, we're able to effectively create vertical slabs in this wall to create the tiny windows to shoot arrows from. This statue is boring and lifeless, but this emoji statue is alive with actual blinking eyes. To create it, just put this special eyeball pattern on the banner and place it above the trapdoor, whose color matches the color of the eyelid. And then as the banner slowly sways back and forth, the lower half of the banner will appear and disappear gradually, creating the illusion of blinking. How do you make these custom flower pots? Start by placing 3 snow layers, then a dirt block. Next, dispense the armor stand and give it a leather helmet to create your wider flower pot. Plus, since leather armor is dyeable, we can dye this new flower pot any color we want. To permanently change the season of your trees, you can replace all the tree's leaves with pale leaves. They fit perfectly perfectly in a snowy biome. Do you like my Nokia phone? I made it inside of a loom with the following combinations. By itself, it still looks like a banner, but if you combine it with a shield, it'll look even more like a phone. Just drop it in an invisible item frame, and you'll have just a phone sitting on a table. If you right-click a Gotorn in an item frame, you'll notice it looks like a spinning loading symbol. So by using command blocks to automatically rotate the item frame, we can make this Gotorn loading animation on a wall. You need this knife rack in your kitchens. To build it, place down an armor stand on top of a trapdoor and adjust its pose so that its head is pointed slightly up. Then use a piston to push a beehive into the armor stand from the side. And now if you place a few candles on the block, it'll look like the knife handle sticking out of the knife block. With just a target block, item frames, and some buttons, you can create this unique dartboard. The inside of a chest is ugly! We can fix this by dispensing an armor stand below a chest and give the armor stand a golden helmet. And now whenever you open the chest, you'll see the top of the gold helmet sitting inside. You can also use a turtle shell instead to make your chest look like it's full of emeralds. If you want to feel like a real superhero, why not try storing your armor stands in these light-up tinted glass display cases? Since tinted glass doesn't let light through, your armor will be drenched in darkness. But with lamps hidden at the bottom of the display, you can light them up each one at a time, really making you feel like Batman. By placing 6 lightning rods around a copper block underwater and then connecting it to the ocean floor with chains, we can create a whole minefield of these naval mines. By utilizing a large number of carefully patterned banners, we can manage to create a beautiful painting like this one. User foati-fox has meticulously recreated the Mona Lisa using 30 banners, making for a relatively small painting that you could actually fit in an art museum. I wish Minecraft had tomatoes. The closest we have to it is rose bushes. So if you go ahead and drop a few armor stands on top of your rose bushes, it'll resemble a trellis that the tomato vines are growing on. Mojang finally added phones! Just kidding, but you can create one by applying a blue gradient to a black banner and then applying it to a shield. Now if you put this in an item frame, it'll look like a phone. By placing some end rods between 2 levers, we can create a super convincing fluorescent light design for your modern builds. You could also place these in a greenhouse to act as grow lamps for the plants. Stink! Instead, by alternating between 2 end rods and then 2 iron trap doors and carpets, we can create a staircase that's actually still functional. And as a bonus, the end rods act as a light source for your staircase. By putting an armor stand into a floating trapdoor and placing a banner, you'll have your very own art stand. Now, if we create a lot of these, it'll look like we're at art class. This has got to be the coolest wall torch ever! What's even better is that it's quite simple to make. Just place a dragon head in an item frame, place an end rod, and add candles on top. It looks like the dragon is holding the torch. Minecraft cakes are boring! Here's how to make a triple-decker one. Place a regular cake for the base, and then a cake textured player head placed on top. For the middle layer, dispense an armor stand, and give it the cake player head. And you'll have a perfect wedding cake. Instead of using fences for your balconies, try using hanging signs. They look a lot sleeker. This is an illegal skateboard. It has tiny wheels and was made completely in survival mode. If you want your own, place armor stands with wither skeleton skulls on trapdoors, and then use pistons to push them into chains to align them. Next, push floor blocks and slabs into them, creating the illusion that the skulls are actually the wheels of this board. By placing concrete blocks and colored player heads, we can create these realistic Lego bricks. You can make them out of all kinds of different colors and make them any size you want. This flat screen TV was built in vanilla Minecraft. To make it, push 2 armor stands and give them both dragon heads. Next, use a piston to shove blocks into them, and optionally use an invisible item frame to put a trap door as the TV controls. Just add some extra detailing like a table below to house some speakers to complete your setup. If you create a wall of oak planks and make the bottom out of pale oak, it'll look like the wall is in the middle of being painted. To make it even better, you could build a paintbrush with a lightning rod and some candles, as well as a paint bucket with an iron block and heavy-weighted pressure plates. Want to make your own frying pan in Minecraft? Here's how. Start by placing an armor stand and wearing a netherite helmet. This will be the bottom of your frying pan. Create the handle by pushing another armor stand into an anvil, mob skull, and fence. Then drop them into the ground so they stick out in a line. Push stair blocks to carefully cover everything, leaving only the top of the netherite helmet and the tips of the handle pieces visible. Place an invisible item frame above the pan and insert yellow wool to represent the yoke. By placing a piece of bamboo in a flower pot and then putting this custom player head on top, we can create a piranha plant. We can also make it face upwards or use different kinds of player heads to create what looks like custom plants. By simply placing some hanging roots on the bottom side of a pink-stained glass block, we've got what perfectly resembles a little pink jellyfish. And we can make a few different variations of jellyfish with purple, magenta, yellow, or orange glass too. With a combination of packed mud and granite blocks, we can easily construct a mound of dirt. But the real trick is to use some melon seeds and invisible item frames to actually create little groups of termites crawling up the blocks. If you want to make your boats more realistic, you can use stained glass panes to create water trails behind your boat. Normal fences aren't scary enough! Instead, use pale wood, pale fences, end rods, and white candles to create a gothic fence that'll send shivers down your spines. Normal cars are boring! Instead, check out these flying cars. They can be built in a wide number of shapes and sizes, as long as you make sure to use tinted glass for the windows and a lightning rod and a hopper in the back to make them all look consistent with one another. By using commands to summon a hoglin named Dinnerbone that doesn't take damage, we can make an upside-down hog that's ready to be roasted. Then by using end rods or lightning rods, we can put them on a stick and cook them over a fire. You could technically do this with any mob like normal pigs or even a giant ravager. Using glazed terracotta, we can build these murals of giant sunflowers into our walls. They go perfectly on the walls of this lime-colored building, and this really has to be the most unique building I've ever seen. 4 armor stands are placed on top of daylight sensors like so. They're equipped with zombie heads and pushed with pistons until they're all in the center. Next, fill the floor up, place trapdoors for the chair rest, and you'll have a cushioned chair. For a bit of variety, you can use pale oak fences, trapdoors, carpet, and mushroom blocks to create these medium-sized mushrooms. Make sure to mix around different trapdoor and slab types to enhance the atmosphere. Check out this tiny city. The road is made of black concrete powder and covered in different colored buttons to resemble cars passing by. And the taller buildings are constructed using a combination of walls, fences, chains, iron bars, flower pots, and end rods for a wide variety in shape and height. You could keep this city to the tiny 5x5 area we've built it in, or you could extend it for miles and pretend to be a giant monster stomping around in a city. Run! Run for your lives! A cool build hack is using some ladders, a rail, and a glass block to create an empty cage. If you add a honey block underneath, you could actually trap a chicken inside this cage without it escaping. Since the ladders have solid hitboxes and the honey block stops the chicken from being able to jump out. You can build some cute drawers by combining lecterns, signs, shulkers, slabs, and trapdoors. If we place a hanging sign on the side of a block, it creates this little support rod that's perfect for a parrot to sit perched on top of. Body of the guitar is shaped with signs and trapdoors to give it that recognizable acoustic guitar shape, and the neck is a fence with a flower pot on top to resemble the guitar's headstock. Then you can use a striped banner to recreate the guitar strings to finish it off. Placing several warped hanging signs in a row allows us to create some really good-looking sidewalls for the truck bed, and then by stacking some wooden boats in the back, we make a very interesting-looking bundle of bamboo. Want to create a sleek, high-speed train? Use quartz blocks to shape the main body of the train. Place invisible item frames on the sides and insert black glass panes to mimic tinted windows. And for the nose of the train, start by placing a banner on the ground. Then place a stair block on top of the banner to form a pointed front. Finally, just add some trapdoors and repeaters on top to complete your train. To give your trees a little more detail, you can cover them in these tiny logs to resemble cut branches and tree knots. This is done using an invisible armor stand holding a log item, but you could make even smaller branches using items in invisible item frames. The top of the creaking heart and sides both look so cool! We can utilize this by building your floor of creaking hearts placed at different angles to create this spooky carpet. By using commands to place vines on the back sides of ladders, you can create this design for a vine-covered trellis. This would make for a great addition to a garden build. You could even consider swapping out the vines for glow lichen to change up the types of vines crawling on the trellis. Want to make a placeable cap in Minecraft? You see, by placing 2 armor stands with helmets, one placed flat on the ground and one on a trapdoor, then pushed together using pistons, will have a layered, stylish hat look. You can also dye them for different cap colors. By combining lapis lazuli and the rib armor trim of golden armor, you can create an Egyptian crown. Or by using the silence armor trim with copper on green dyed armor, you can create a set of green camo gear. You can create giant numbers using banners for labeling the coordinates of your base, or for labeling the current height you're at in a mineshaft. Do you like my cubic trees? They can be built from granite and jungle planks for the trunk, and wool, moss, and carpet for the leaves. I just love how each branch gets its own set of cube leaves. This tiny little log with an axe in it is adorable! To create it, just place a custom player skull with a log texture, and then summon an invisible armor stand holding an axe so that the axe's blade is just sticking into the top of the log. It's a simple detail, but placing it into a forest cabin scene makes the build look a lot more lived in. You can create these fancy tables by dispensing an armor stand into the ground, placing a scaffolding block, and surrounding it with trapdoors. You can exchange a center helmet and trapdoors with all different kinds of combinations. I personally prefer using iron trapdoors with an iron helmet in the middle. You'll need to use a redstone block to power the iron trapdoors for this one. The nether is too big, so I made my tiny one. You can build this tiny crimson forest with crimson nylium for the ground, and some crimson fences and nether wart blocks to create the crimson fungus trees. You can even have a tiny nether portal banner design, placed in such a way that the bottom half gets cut off. Or you could swap out the crimson blocks for warped ones to create a tiny warped forest instead. This baby villager does not deserve a full-size bed. Instead, it should have this little baby cradle. By using commands, we're able to place just the top half of a bed between these 2 trapdoors. Next, put some signs to create the wall to the crib. This is your new bed now! Everyone knows you can use anvils or stone slabs and item frames to create torch holders, but why limit yourself? You can try all sorts of different items like walls, scaffolding, trapdoors, fence gates, copper grates. If you're in creative mode, you can also use invisible item frames to make them look extra fancy. This is a functional mailbox. It's made with just a lectern, barrel, lever, and pressure plate. It's perfect to use on any survival server. By using 2 grindstones on the bottom of the plane, it looks like this plane actually has 2 little wheels to land on. And by placing a campfire in the front behind the propeller, it looks like the plane has a smoking engine. Then with a minecart, the plane's front seat can actually be functional, allowing you to take a ride in it. Whee! Wait, this isn't moving. My trash can is better than yours! By placing a mangrove trapdoor on top of a pot, it makes a perfect trash can shape. But by then connecting a hopper to the bottom of the trash can with some lava and redstone hidden under the ground, you can make the trash can actually functional, so anything put in the pot gets ejected into the lava. By placing pumpkin blocks on the outside and dripstone for the teeth, you can encase your nether portal inside a giant jack-o'-lantern. It's quite fitting since the mouth will swallow you to another dimension. Dad! Village houses are everywhere. If you want to make them look fancier, add a window to the roof, some trapdoors as shutters, and in the front, make a small roof that will block the rain. The picture's plant's growth stages all look quite different. The middle stage in particular looks like a potato. So by mixing one up in one of your potato farms, it'll look like a giant potato growing. Make sure to put string on top though to make sure the picture plant doesn't keep on growing. To make sure no mobs attack, you can build a hostile mob switch. These contraptions overflow the world with hostile mobs and make it so no more can spawn. If you want a bigger flower pot, try placing it on top of a decorated pot. The textures match up perfectly and will make everyone jealous of your giant pots. How does this room have light? There isn't a single visible light source because it's all hidden in the ceiling. Simply place some glowstone blocks and cover them up with carpets on top of string. This way you'll have a clean ceiling without yellow glowstone sticking out. If you need a house quick, this will be an instant house. Just create the outline of your base using saplings and bone meal them. Once you clean up the leaves on the inside, you'll get an amazing shelter. When a zombie tries to enter this house, it instantly starts to take damage. This is because beneath the trapdoors are magma blocks that burn the zombies alive. You can place other blocks on top of the magma block, like carpets and moss blocks to camouflage it. This is one of the most creative houses. A portal splits the house in 2 from the normal world and the nether side. It looks like half the house is transported from the nether. For a more detailed sandcastle, build the outer walls 3 blocks long and place trapdoors on either side as the castle doors. Add a flower pot on top of each corner as a lookout point. In the middle, you can add a castle flag to show ownership. This house is larger than you think. To create it, find a small hill and build up a small house in front of it. Behind the front entrance, dig into the hill and create a huge room. Although the house may look small from the outside, once you enter, it'll seem a whole lot bigger. If you want to relax in water, you'll need a hot tub. To build one, just create a small outline, fill it with water, and place soul sand on the floor. This way you'll have a hot tub that's shooting out bubbles. Make sure to add some bamboo plants around it to add some style. Or if you want one for the beach, you can make an outdoor version with spruce planks, trapdoors, and slabs. Do you like my gaming setup? Invisible armor stands are holding up dyed shields, and they look just like monitors. The keyboard is made from an armor stand's iron helmet, and the mouse is just a button. But if you want an even cooler house, you can build straight into an ice spike. To get inside, you can create a bubble beam elevator blasting you upwards. It's especially good since most mobs will have trouble reaching you this high up. I'm unstoppable! If you want to relax on a sunny beach, you should build a beach hut. Build the border out of azalea leaves and spruce wood. Next, fill the insides with slabs and create a comfy bed out of snow layers. For the roof, you can use campfires and trapdoors to create a pretty ceiling. Finally, just add in some banners to block the sun and enjoy your day off. Dripstone normally connects if you place it at the bottom and top, but if you hold shift and place the dripstone down, it won't connect. This way you can create realistic pointed teeth. Check out my coconut drink! It even has a bamboo straw attached to it. First, place 4 layers of snow and then put a block on top. Next, add a flower pot and plant some bamboo in it. Now, dispense an armor stand into the side and equip it with a coconut skull. And there you have it, your very own coconut drink. Cheers! By blasting fireworks into the side of a block, you can create these firework flowers. It's a super creative way to create tons of flower petals, all in survival mode. If you're building a nice sidewalk, try using some furnaces pointed inward and outward. This will be a sidewalk drain like those found in real life. The top of the autocrafter crafter looks like a tic-tac-toe board. And the cool part is you can right-click to actually play inside of the GUI. This next defense is unstoppable because Guardians have 100% accuracy and can be perched up on towers like this to create Tesla beams. Anyone who comes nearby will be shot down. Another way to create a great attack tower is with wardens. By using bubble beams, you can actually bring the warden to the surface and trap them in attack towers where they'll shoot the most overpowered sonic boom. Also, crafters can be used as an electronic stove in your kitchen. Place campfires underneath as well to show food is cooking. You can use commands to summon a spyglass on an armor stand. Then if you rotate it, it'll look like a bottle sitting on a counter. But that's not as overpowered as this because you can create a bazooka. You see, gas can actually be trapped in minecarts and you can bring them to the overworld. The gas can be put in a cage and will act as a bazooka, shooting any players that try to invade your base. It can be activated and deactivated with a piston. If part of your wood builds go underwater, try swapping out the sunken parts with dark oak logs. The wood underwater will look soaked. Although trees are typically made from wood, tough stone and deep slate are great for alternatives for bonsai trees. The gray colors of these stones provide a more fitting match than traditional wood. Additionally, you can simulate a dead tree by removing the leaves, although I personally prefer the look of a living one. But if you want a house no one can enter, try this lava base. You might notice that there are a bunch of dispensers placed around here. They are placed all around the house. Once you're inside the house, you can activate them with a lever, and the dispensers will all shoot out lava surrounding your house with lava, ensuring maximum protection. You can do this very simply by connecting dispensers under the house to a redstone line. An expensive lamp can be made by placing a copper bulb on top of a dragon egg. Acacia buttons can also be added onto it to turn it off and on easily. This house may seem ugly and normal, but it has a secret ability. If a creeper explodes nearby, nothing will happen. This is due to command blocks filling in oak planks that are in repeat mode. It's quite simple to do and will create a completely indestructible home. This is a disappearing island. For some reason, shulker boxes don't render unless you get close to them. Knowing this, you can build entire sky islands out of shulker boxes that only appear as you get close to it. The island will be invisible to everyone except those who know where it is. To add a bigger pillow to your bed, place an armor stand on top of a few snow layers, give it a dyed leather helmet, and place your bed. This looks much more comfortable. To make sure no one's drowning, you can build a simple lifeguard stand. Use acacia wood for the stand, a minecart for the seat, and beds for the umbrella. No one's drowning on my watch! These lava pools are amazing for hiding secret bases. The lava is held up by signs, allowing you to jump right through and into a pool of water. To make sure you don't take damage, jump from a higher point to gain momentum. Just make sure you jump into the right spot. Help! Help! With just 2 auto crafters, we can make a simple waffling iron. Burying someone in the sand at the beach is always a blast, but in Minecraft, it's a bit tricky since you might just end up suffocating. Instead, try this fun alternative. Pile a few sand blocks and place a Steve head on top. Or for an even cooler effect, use an armor stand. Equip it with items. Place a sand block on top and add fence gates for arms. Now you have a perfectly buried Minecraft buddy. This is a combination lock. The top of the crafter block looks like a keypad. So by placing it against the wall, you can create a security keypad. The lights are constantly flickering because there's an observer clock beneath it. But it's not just for decoration, it's functional too. The door will open only if you craft the right item using it, and there are over 160,000 combinations. This door will open if you craft this specific decorated part. It's so cool! Imagine living inside a video game console. Well, you can simulate it by creating a Switch console outline with blue and red concrete. You can turn the screen into your home, and it'll look like you're a character in the game. By filling up walls of lava and surrounding them with water, you'll create regenerating walls. This will make it so anyone trying to mine through will have a very difficult time because the cobblestone walls will just keep on healing. In Minecraft, there are many lakes and rivers. In one of them, we can build a house connected to the riverbank. The house will look very stylish and fit in with the environment. The lush caves are one of the prettiest biomes. You can dig into the wall and create a secret lair. Inside, you'll have all your valuables along with a display of your axolotls. Make sure to use blocks found on the inside of lush caves like deep slate and glowberries to not break the aesthetic of the biome. If you add candles near TNT, it'll look like sticks of dynamite. Make sure you don't accidentally light the TNT though. In your large mining zones, you can create a sieve using copper trap doors and black stone walls. When you place carpet on top of signs, the top of the sign will actually poke out. You can use this feature to create all sorts of crazy rug patterns or even make a realistic looking road. You can exchange the wood on trees for dripstone to get gorgeous palm trees. But if you're very rich, you can even try using ancient debris. They're perfect for a tropical build. While normal bookshelves are pretty boring, chisel Chiseled bookshelves can actually be used to create really cool designs. By placing books into specific positions, we can create bookshelf pixel art. Caves sticking out of mountains can be the perfect base. Make sure there's enough space inside and just place glass blocks on the outside and 2 doors. Inside of the anvil, you'll find a hammer in the GUI, but that item doesn't exist. However, the mace kind of looks similar to it. So by placing one inside an invisible item frame, the mace will look like a hammer for the anvil. This is a laser door. By using some redstone, fence gates, and beacons, you can create a security door that looks like lasers are blocking the way. When you turn it off, the beacons turn off, and the fence gates beneath the snow open, allowing you to cross. Tough bricks are perfect for castle builds. They look a lot richer than normal stone bricks and make your palace seem like royalty. The floor of this build is also using polished and chiseled tough bricks. The dark grey colors also contrast beautifully with the purple banners and rugs. I feel like royalty here. This aquarium works without glass, but how? Simply place stairs at both the bottom and top like so. Next, waterlog the bottom stairs and then add water to the top stairs. Finally, fill the center with seagrass to create some source blocks throughout. Fish can now be added to happily swim inside. The side handle of the autocrafter also looks like a telephone. We can build some structure around it and add a redstone torch as an antenna to create a phone calling machine. Most players build their walls out of a single block. However, by using a gradient like so, you can create a much more realistic build. Copper grates work very well as industrial platforms, and you can add copper trapdoors as the railing. You won't be falling off here anytime soon. This is an automatic lamp. When you walk nearby, the light will magically turn on. To build it, just use some stone brick walls, copper bulbs, and a skulk sensor in the middle. The sensor will detect whenever you walk nearby and activate the bulbs. By mixing podzol blocks into your river, you can make it seem like mud, which will add texture to your rivers. Labeling your chests with item frames is pretty cool, but if you have a lot, they'll start to lag your game since they're considered as entities. A better idea is just using signs, because you can create text art with them to visualize what items are inside. You can even dye the signs to make them even more unique. To make your volcanoes 100 times better, place a campfire below the lava. This way your volcano will be puffing out toxic fumes. A giant crane can be built by combining copper trapdoors, acacia wood, and chains. Mixing the different orange blocks works really well, and this crane is amazing to have in your construction sites. By placing path blocks near beaches, you can create the appearance of wet sand. It might seem out of place at first, but I personally like it. Alternatively, you can give your beaches a rougher texture by mixing different types of yellow blocks. By using a composter, using a fireplace, and filling it up to the brim, it'll look like a pot full of tasty stew. Although the mace is an amazing weapon, the 2D texture isn't the greatest. To make our own hammer, place an armor stand into the ground, push a stone block into it, and then add an end rod for the handle. Finally, we can just add a few decoration blocks around it, and we'll have a hammer sitting on a rock. Or for a more classic phone booth, we can create ones with crimson trapdoors for the outside, and on the inside, an autocrafter is placed for the keypad and another one as the telephone. Having a trapdoor at the top of your ladders used to be a pain because you couldn't climb up them. However, in version 1.9, this was changed, and now trapdoors could be climbed if directly above a ladder. This allows us to create cursed ladders like this, where a ladder is alternated with a trapdoor. You can even take it one step further and create a two-sided ladder. Make sure not to flip the trapdoor though, it'll break the ladder. This is an illegal chair! With commands, you can set just the bottom half of a bed. Next, you can combine it with some trapdoors and a banner to create a sofa chair fit for a king. You can actually put mobs on display. Just trap a mob in this small area, place a wall on the ground so the creeper can't escape. Glass blocks can be squished into it, giving you your very own creeper pet. If your friend ever steals your carrots, you can get revenge by giving him all the carrots he'll ever want. Cover his house all in item frames and fill them up with carrots. He'll be lagging and his house will look ugly. Village houses look way too basic, but turns out by just exchanging a few of the blocks, you can completely upgrade it. The new house uses the same outline but just looks a million times better. With just a few banners and lanterns, you can create a ghost. It's a perfect trick during Halloween. Ooh. If you waterlog a block, you can surprisingly place lily pads on top. This allows us to create cursed builds like this. This is the burning trench. If you have just a normal hole of magma, the mobs won't go down. But for some reason, when you dig a slanted trench like this, the mobs will just run straight down to their deaths. You guys aren't very smart. Check out this crazy trampoline. It sends you flying through the air, and building it is actually quite simple. Just place a layer of observers like so, and then place a second layer of observers on top. Next, set down dispensers filled with wind charges, and to turn it on, just activate one of the observers. You'll get this wonderful trampoline, and the wind charges will create a satisfying pattern. You can use different shades of pink to create a flower, and for the center, use copper grates to create this unique texture. It's a neat way to add a decorative touch. This is the greatest house I've ever seen! It may look normal at first, but once you take a closer look, you'll see it's made of tiny blocks. The illusion works by using a resource pack that turns all textures to be made out of blocks, even catching on fire, and mobs like the axolotl are made out of tiny blocks. We've all built a dirt hut before when we were noobs, but now we can take it to the next level. Dirt huts can look surprisingly stylish if you decorate the outside with azalea bushes, moss, and leaves. This hut looks better than most players' builds. Minecraft needs more desserts. All we have are cakes and cookies. So to make our own, just combine an end rod and stripped cherry log. It'll look like cotton candy. If you place a button on an invisible item frame, it'll look like a tiny bug. You can have them crawling on anything from cakes, logs, and even your own floor. But if you exchange the items for a glowing item frame and birch buttons, you can get some cool fireflies. Since a crab mob was rejected from Minecon Live, let's build it in Minecraft. Simply place a banner on the floor, a slab on top, and surround it with fence gates. Aw, he's adorable. You can also make a different version using slabs, fence gates, wall blocks, and candles for the eyes. Which crab do you prefer? You can build using the sun and moon. During the day, the sun will align perfectly on top of the left hand, and at night, the moon will rest on the right hand. If you've got some exposed ores in your build, try adding some stone stairs and slabs to blend the ores in with the environment a bit better. If you're terrible with bows, you need to build this. It uses a target block and a comparator. The closer your arrow is to the bullseye, the further the redstone pulse will go up. And if you hit the bullseye, a firework will shoot up. Yay! Beds can hide a secret entrance? Well, if you place blocks all around a bed except one spot, you'll spawn there when exiting the bed. Knowing this, you can place a bed in a secret corner, and by exiting it, you'll be in your secret stash. If you're hungry at the beach, you'll likely find a hot dog stand. They're quite easy to build using just iron and concrete blocks. Add ketchup and mustard bottles with red and yellow candles. You can also replace one of the iron blocks with a white shulker box to store food. With an autocrafter, deep slate block, and grindstone, we can create a cute robot with levers as arms. We can even give it a straw hat with bamboo trapdoors, or exchange it out with a flower on its head. It's adorable! Look at my aquarium! It utilizes copper trapdoors and copper bulbs to create this beautiful build. It fits in a small footprint, yet can be quite colorful with tropical fish and coral. Minecraft has both normal mushrooms and tree mushrooms, but no in between. So we can make our own by just combining an end rod and a mushroom block. It's a great middle ground from the two extremes. This layered defense is great for stopping mobs. Just place a border of water to prevent enderman. The honey will trap some mobs, and the final layer of lava will stop all the rest. You may know you can type special characters into signs, but a cool trick you can do with this is place a square symbol at the edges of the sign. It'll look like the sign is nailed down and make a door seem barricaded. Want floating lanterns? Lanterns normally can't float in the air, but with the help of trapdoors, you can create a cage around it. They look really pretty at night. In Cup Pong, you try to toss a ball into cups. To recreate this in Minecraft, use sea pickles as the cups and banners to indicate each side. Too bad you can't actually play using it though. But if you want to have fun in the ocean waters, use slabs and concrete to create the outline of a jet ski. Next, place a lever, anvil, and lightning rods as the controls of the boat. It looks so nice. End crystals make amazing defenses because they explode instantly. You can set up the ultimate defense by aiming dispensers with snowballs at end crystals. Then whenever trespassers come by, flip the switch! If you place a few iron trapdoors around a slab and then type a face on a sign, you can get a futuristic tech drone. You can even change the face color from blue to red and it'll look angry. But if you're not a big fan of the water, try building a giant floating island. It's mostly made out of glass and even has a mini palm tree on it. But what's even better than a house above land is one underwater. By placing a conduit next to some prismarine blocks, you'll be able to breathe nearby and build a completely underwater house. It feels kind of illegal sleeping here though. Circles are hard to come by in Minecraft, which is why if you're trying to make wheels, a cheap and easy alternative is just using mangrove trapdoors as them. This is a katana. To create it, put 2 armor stands and push blocks downward to get the holder. Next, push 2 chains on one side and a lightning rod on the other side to get your legendary katana. You can create a working closet. Just place down a few trapdoors, armor stands, scaffolding, scaffolding, and finish with doors in the front. This will give you a nice, organized place to access your precious gear. Don't use torches in your bedroom. Instead, you can make a realistic lamp. Start with a copper bulb and lightning rod. Next, dispense an armor stand on top of a daylight sensor and give it a dyed leather hat. It'll be the base of the lamp. Now just place a pressure plate on top and power it on. This looks way better than torches. While carpets can create an easy rug, there is a much better way. Just place some corals on top of waterlogged slabs to get fluffy rugs. You can even mix and match different color types to create beautiful rug patterns. If you're building in a cold biome, try hanging some blue glass panes from the roof to look like icicles are hanging down. For a surfboard riding the waves, start by building a staircase out of dirt to shape the wave. Pour water over the top to complete the wave effect. For the surfboard, place trapdoors and carpets on top. To add a surfer, position an armor stand on the board, dress it up, and use fence gates for the arms. You'll be riding the seas. If your swimming pool is looking a little empty, try adding some floaties. A swimming tube can easily be made using glass panes, and a pool bed can be made using trapdoors with carpets. Or if you want more advanced designs, try building floaties out of various wood types and placing food trays beside them. These are for royalty! If you're going for an ancient build, try exchanging some of the bricks for stairs, and it'll look like the structure is breaking down. By combining two grindstones, a mob skull in the front, and a block of TNT on top, it'll look like the mob is trying to throw TNT at you. A tree you can easily turn into a house is a mushroom. Just plop a few ladders down, create the flooring, add a window, and you'll have a super cozy room. If you have a pirate ship but it's feeling a little empty, you need this. Blacksmith villagers actually wear an eye patch, so they're the perfect crew to have aboard. The cartography table has the same texture as dark oak plants, so by mixing it into our table like so, it'll look like the table has small items scattered on top. By using a few stone stairs and slabs, you can actually create a wither engraved into the wall. For the head, you can even use a chiseled nether brick. If you place a target block on top of a quartz pillar, you'll notice something pretty cool. The lines on the blocks actually line up. This way you can have some pretty seamless target pillars. Beacons are a transparent block, so the beams can go through other beacons. Using this feature, you can stack a few up and build the pyramid out of different blocks to look like a custom beacon. Help, I can't swim! Luckily, there are some animal floaties nearby. With some white concrete, buttons, glass pane, and an end rod, you can build a unicorn floaty. You saved my life! Or if unicorns aren't quite your style, you can build a duck, flamingo, or turtle floaty. They're beautiful. Sea pickles can be placed on top of pumpkins and melons to look like a stem on top. This house is an optical illusion. The eyes follow you around as you move. To make it, just place slabs and stairs in this way. The house will stare down any intruders who try to rob you. Want to recreate Spike Ball in Minecraft? Start by pushing 4 armor stands inward with pistons to form the border. Then add string and carpet on top. Voila! You've got your very own Spike Ball trampoline. Oxidized copper trapdoors can be combined with carpet to create a tall chair. Or normal copper can be mixed with acacia wood to create these simple seats. But if you want one way bigger, copper grates and jungle wood can be used for this king chair. All beaches need seagulls. To build one, use fence gates for the legs and quartz for the body. Next, add some glass, slabs, and buttons for the finishing details. They look amazing perched in the sand. When piglins enter the overworld, they quickly turn zombified. However, a cool trick we can do is dispensing a piglin head on top. This feels so wrong though. Candles are so short. However, a pretty cool way to make them taller is by just placing them on top of an end rod. You can even mix the colors up and try a green candle on top of a bamboo or even an orange candle on top of an end rod. Once the ultimate library, in between one of your bookshelves, just carve a hole out and fill it in with water. In this area, you can add a fish and seagrass to create a mini aquarium. To add some extra depth, use wood and trapdoors to create a circle shape and finish it off with some extra decoration. Your library will look so much better. Now, copper is mostly used for buildings and structures, but it also works great for statues. Utilizing the different variants, we can create this warrior robot. At the end of an arm, we can even attach an iron bar as a blade. If you extinguish a campfire, the design underneath is actually quite useful. Place a couple of these next to each other to create a super nice wooden bench. Most players use fences for their castle gates. The lecterns also fit surprisingly well. They're much thicker and look like they'd stop a ravager from barging through. Grass looks terrible in desert biomes, but with the help of moss blocks, we can create fake grass so you can still have bright green lawns. This is one of the strangest houses you'll ever see. It's a house made completely out of boats. You can do it by pushing boats on top of each other in survival or summoning the boats in creative mode. Although it looks simple, it's pretty tough to assemble, and if a creeper blows up nearby, it can completely destroy all your hard work. The copper golem was unfortunately rejected. In honor of it, we can build these golem assembly machines. It shows us what we could have had. I've always wanted to live in a tree treehouse. To make one, simply use 4 jungle saplings to create a huge tree and build a ladder going all the way to the top. For the entrance, make sure to have a few trapdoors so mobs can't follow you up. Armor stands are boring, but there's a better way to show off your gear. Using pistons, push down blocks on top of your armor stand to create a glass case. And if you're feeling extra fancy, push down 2 glass blocks on top of an armor stand to showcase your entire set. By placing crying obsidian and trapdoors underneath, you can have some spooky particles falling from your ceiling. The extra particles fit pretty well inside of a portal room. If you're looking for a natural defense, you need bamboo and berry bushes. The bamboo will create a beautiful barricade, stopping mobs from entering, and the berry bushes will spike the mobs. This combination is surprisingly great at stopping mobs, while players can still slip around the tight bamboo gaps. But if you want your front lawn to look unique as well, try exchanging some of the grass with moss blocks, and it'll look like your grass is mowed. Iron golems are one of the toughest mobs in the game, which is why they make a great defense. Once it turns night, just unleash the beasts, and they'll slay out any hostile creatures nearby. By placing a copper trapdoor and a coral fan on top, you'll get a water lily. Coral turns grey if it doesn't touch water, so what we can do is place a coral on top of a waterlogged block. This way it'll look like the coral is magically still colored. While villagers in the overworld have these basic lamps, they could be so much better. You can create a steampunk-style lamp with lightning rods, acacia trapdoors, and a copper bulb. It fits particularly well in acacia villages. Or if you want an industrial lamp, you can build one with tough bricks, fences, and hoppers. The light produced by the lamp is all from the glowing item frames. But a much sneakier way to defend your base is by using sand. Normally, sand will fall down, but you can place a bunch on top of connected signs above a large hole. So when a player tries entering your base, just break a single sign, and the entire sand floor will come crashing down. Azalea leaves are amazing as bushes, but we can make them even better. By using invisible item frames and putting sunflowers inside, we can create yellow bushes. You can also try mixing in different flower types as well for more variation. Run! While mobs with armor are scary enough, you can actually give them armor trim gear and it'll make them look terrifying. I really like how it looks on piglins. Dogs are pretty cool, but platypuses are even better. To build one, use some daylight sensors, warped blocks, levers, candles, and a slab for the beak. It looks so cute. Since armor stands are entities, they can be stacked on top of each other. This way you can make an armor stand seem alive or even mix around different mob heads like a skeleton or a dragon. If you're using leaves as bushes, try adding on some extra vines on top. It'll add some extra depth and make them a lot more pretty. A great way to make sure mobs can't enter your base is by using alternating fence types. Mobs won't be able to get through, but you'll be able to just walk around. Tires in real life will leave behind some tracks, so for some added realism, try using stairs to create some vehicle treads. Do you like my beach ball? It looks surprisingly realistic and was made entirely in survival mode. Place 5 layers of snow. Next, place an armor stand and top it with a zombie head. For the second part, set up another armor stand, give it a skeleton head, and drop it down. Finally, push a sandstone block on top. Voila! You've got your very own beach ball. Chains are a great way to hang small blocks like lanterns, but they look a bit funky on bigger builds. To fix this issue, you can use grindstones as larger ones. Just alternate their direction to create these tough-looking chains. Ouch! Is cactus too prickly? If you want a safer alternative, you can make some fake ones with bamboo blocks and amethyst crystals as tiny cactus fruit. If your base is in the desert, you should probably use cactus. You can surround your entire base with cactus like this, and the mobs will push each other into it. But to stop players, you can put boats around the base, and all mobs that get trapped in them will attack players trying to enter. If you place skulk veins on top of a diamond block, it'll look like a blue magma block. You can even place a skulk vein on different types of coral blocks to create all kinds of colorful variations. Tridents with the channeling enchantment strike lightning whenever it lands on a mob or lightning rod. Using this feature, channeling tridents can be placed on top of end rods and bounced up and down to create a lightning generator. You can then surround your entire base with these, and good luck to anyone trying to break in. By placing a yellow glass block, trapdoor, and tripwire hook at the end of it, you'll create a lemonade dispenser. You can then decorate around it with fences and banners to create your very own lemonade stand. While there isn't any lemonade in Minecraft, you can use strength potions since they look like a yellow liquid. Everyone knows shipwrecks have hidden loot inside, but turns out they have another use. If the shipwreck is close to the shore, you can actually extend it and turn it into a nice dock base. It makes a great vacation home. Players are always looking for secret entrances, so you can prepare a fake one. It can be anything like a moving bookshelf door, but make sure it's somewhat obvious. When the button is pressed, instead of opening a door, an anvil is released from high up. Polar bears can get very lonely, so let's live with them. You can actually build straight into an iceberg to create a cute little home. And if you're ever hungry, you can just step outside to go fishing. It's impossible to place blocks below the void, but there's an illegal way to live there. Shoal shulkers can actually be spawned below bedrock, and using cheats, you can create a walkable platform out of them. And if you want to get out, the shulkers will levitate you right back up. If you're tired of normal plank floors, you can exchange them with beehives. This way you'll get more unique floor tiles compared to every other house. Tents are a great portable shelter in real life, but in Minecraft, not so much. However, if you still want one, you can easily make one with some wool for the outside, and a little campfire with chairs on the side. The good thing about the campfire is that you can see the smoke from far away to find your base. The chiseled copper black sort of looks like a wheel. We can attach it to the bottom of our wagon and it fits in nicely. If you want to show your basement's rundown, a nice touch is placing a water block above, so water particles drip down from the ceiling. If you use a dinnerbone name tag on a mob, it'll flip over, so we can attach it to a fence high up and it'll look like the mob is walking upside down. Someone save me, I'm drowning! Luckily, you can build a lifesaver by just alternating stair colors. Too bad it's only for decoration though. When you're decorating your bedroom, you'll need a dresser. However, instead of using just a boring chest, create a unique one with a few crafters, trapdoors, and a heavy core. You can even top it off with a pretty cherry sapling to look extra pretty. Most beaches don't have restrooms, they have porta potties instead. In Minecraft, you can recreate this with just a few trapdoors, slabs, and a door. Make sure to decorate around it with path blocks and sandstone to separate it from the rest of the beach. If you attach a copper bulb to a lightning rod, you can make a really simple light switch. Just flick the button to turn it off and on. Different ceiling lights can also be made by surrounding it in trapdoors or stair blocks. This house may look safe to enter, but it's actually extremely deadly. Underneath each of the trapdoors are poisonous pufferfish. Anyone trying to walk over it will instantly be poisoned. If you just killed the ender dragon and want to show your friends, try building a statue of a dead dragon with just some black stone, coal blocks, amethyst crystals, and a dragon head. You'll create a pretty cool looking dragon. You can even add an end rod with a candle on top to look like it has a sword in its head. The auto crafter can also be placed on a desk along with a painting to make a laptop. It looks much better than just a gold pressure plate, which so many people do. Minecraft beaches are pretty barren. There's nothing but sand. However, you can add some various buttons or small shells across the beach. Armor stands with helmets can also be buried as rocks. Or for something more realistic, invisible item frames can be used to plant Nautilus seashells across the beach. I love it! Spaceships need powerful thrusters to fly through space, but on a smaller scale, they can be harder to build. We can try dispensers, but they don't fit too well. A better solution is using auto crafters. Their sideways texture looks like mini rocket boosters. How do you make a bamboo bridge? Just use stripped bamboo as the base and then bamboo signs for the rails. If you want a working stove, drop a hopper Minecraft on top of a campfire. Then use a piston to push an iron trapdoor on top to customize your kitchen. Swamp biomes don't have much color, so to liven this place up, place a coral fan on top of a warped trapdoor to create a new kind of lily pad. By just placing copper grate blocks, you'll get yourself some storage crates. Trapdoors can even be placed around to fortify your crates. Although you can't store items inside of these, they're a great decoration for storage units. Placing a copper grate on the floor looks like a drain. With a lectern facing the wall and a few leaves on top, you can create a houseplant. Obviously, we can't be selfish and not make a house for our pets. For our dogs, we can create a simple one using a few stairs and trapdoors. The dog can stay in there when it rains. For our parrots, we can create a small house for them on top of fences. Or you can even push a glass block on top of the parrot to create a glass cage. Oxidized trapdoors are perfect for creating pipes and vent systems. An easy way to build these is using full blocks as the structure and then placing the trapdoors around it. Once the trapdoors are all placed, just break the blocks in the middle to get your seamless pipe system. I love crawling through these. Stony beaches are usually full of boring stone blocks. However, by mixing in mushroom blocks, cobblestone, dead coral fans, and clay, you can create super detailed pebble beaches. I need to relax. You can build a sauna with just an oak plank barrier, a beehive floor, and campfire benches. Shroom lights also fit very well in here, and placing a campfire and smoker on top creates a steamer for the room. I feel much better now. Tired of chests? Use this instead. Place barrels as the base, put an iron trapdoor in an item frame, and finish it off with a sign to get a drawer with handles. This is a tiny well. Place down a few stairs and waterlog them. For the roofing, add some diagonal slabs like so, and top it off with some signs. What's great about this well is that it actually functions as an infinite water source even though it's so small. You can make this PlayStation with no mods. Place a custom skull on the bottom of the PlayStation, dispense an armor stand into the same block, and equip it with another mob skull. Now for 2 game controllers, just place 2 armor stands like so, equip them with skulls, and push blocks on top of them. It's quite simple yet looks super cool. This is so fun! At the beach, you can build an exciting water course to compete in with your friends. It's a water knockout course where you have to parkour to reach the end. The first one to complete it wins! Well, if you have friends. Amethyst geodes are a very beautiful structure structure. To turn it into a pretty house, just smooth out the entrance with some slabs and decorate the inside with glowberries and furniture. By leading a mob and then attaching it to a fence, you can make it look like the tent is being held up by ropes. The mob underneath is probably not enjoying its job though. Check out this tiny aquarium. The fish probably hates it, but it's super cool. To build it, surround a chest with trapdoors, place a glass block, a map beneath it, and finish it off with a bucket of tropical fish. We'll have our own mini fish tank. Check out my beach chairs. You can build them by just using some stairs, slabs, and signs. For the umbrella, use stone walls and fences to hold it up. Place string around the umbrella so you can place carpet on top. The carpets can also be exchanged for the bed blocks to create a thicker umbrella. For a small table, use trapdoors and add some sea pickles as cups. Building in the water can be a pain because you have to pillar up from the bottom of the ocean. However, you can just use lily pads instead to start building from the surface. By dispensing an armor stand into the side of a block and placing a button on top, you can create a popsicle. Use different colored buttons for different flavors, but I don't recommend using a stone one. Ew! The desert temple is one of the nicest looking structures, so it's not a bad idea to make it our initial base. Simply place wooden stairs around the top to make a roof for our pyramid, and you'll be able to identify it a lot easier from the other desert pyramids in the world. By placing a bunch of different colored buttons on some stone, we can create a rock climbing wall. You can even make some of the buttons activate pistons, so you can actually try climbing upwards. Or if you have invisible item frames, you can have colorful concrete grips instead. If you place a campfire underneath a loom, it'll look like smoke is coming from a vent. Cattails aren't in Minecraft, but that doesn't mean we can't create them. Just place a support block, place some brown candles, and replace the bottom block with a plant of your choice. While not perfect, it's a great way to diversify your swamps and ponds. The front of observers looks like a face, so we can actually create a robot using one as the head, hoppers for the shoulders, and a grindstone as the wheel. Most city buildings are missing something crucial. In the case of a fire, there needs to be a quick way out. So by using copper trapdoors and fences, we can create a fire escape. You can make a rusty one with oxidized copper and warped fences, or a brand new looking one with copper and jungle fences. They're a bit difficult to climb down, but their looks more than make up for it. You can make a parrot house with a few trapdoors and a slab. On the inside, set down a turtle egg in an item frame and place a coral on top. Your parrot would love this house. Using all the different variants of tough bricks, fancy floor patterns can be made. To create a thinner tree, try exchanging out with the logs with 4 walls. For birch, we can use diorite walls, and for acacia, we can use andesite walls. Different trunk sizes will add much needed variation to our forest. While signs are normally used for writing, they can also add texture to a lot of your builds. They can transform simple looking columns to elegant pillars. Blazes constantly shoot fireballs, which makes them amazing for defending your base. You can set them around your house as turrets, and they'll light anyone who comes nearby on fire. If getting blazes is too hard, you can easily replace the blazes with skeletons and place lava in front of them, making them shoot flaming arrows at all intruders. With a few chains, a pot, and a flower, you can make a hanging plant. A bigger one can be made too, using trapdoors and a berry bush. Nether forests are full of life, but you can build a dead tree. It works by using muddy mangrove roots for the stem and dead coral blocks for the leaves. What's better is that you can add some hanging dead corals on the leaves, which will look like dried up vines. It blends in surprisingly well with the surrounding environment. Banners sway gently in the wind, so you can actually combine them with glowing item frames to create blinking lights. It involves no redstone and is all just a banner flapping back and forth in front of them. It looks especially cool inside underground tunnels. By placing a bunch of doors and pressure plates, you can create a labyrinth that is super annoying to get through. When players see this, they'll probably just turn back around. Minecraft has tons of different stone variations. With them, we're able to build sturdy statues. In this particular creation, over 10 different stone types were utilized, ranging from tough wall arms to a stone face. All those stone types lets us create amazing textures. With just a few trapdoors, a lectern, and a glass block, we can create this super fancy display case for our books. It's super cheap, yet looks perfect for storing our precious novels. If you're not a huge fan of swimming, you can build a swan paddle boat. It's a pretty simple design and fits perfectly in the water. Unfortunately, you won't have any luck getting it to move. Instead of just floating in the water, you can build a slide to quickly enter the water. Make sure to build your slides out of fun colors like orange or yellow concrete blocks and place pillars to support the slide. This is a realistic pool floaty. It's made by pushing armor stands into the corners of a wall floaty and equipping them with diamond gear. Once you push blocks into the ground with pistons, you'll have a very cool and expensive pool floaty. However, you can make cheaper alternatives using yellow terracotta and gold armor. But something even cooler are snow golems. They can actually be stacked on top of each other, and when hostile creatures come nearby, they'll rapid fire them, giving us a snowball machine gun. They won't do damage, but are amazing to knock mobs far away from your house. But But one of the best ways to not get raided is by having your base impossible to reach. By building your base at the world border, you'll make it so very few people will want to come attack you. And you can even build your base against the border for extra protection. Before we can enter a pool, we should take a cold shower. We can create a simple mechanism with just 2 observers and dispensers. Now you can clean yourself before entering the pool. With just 4 stairs facing into each other and lining the top with birch trapdoors, you'll create a super expensive looking table. If you have a ton of enemies outside, you'll need something that shoots quickly. By placing redstone torches, redstone, and dispensers like this, you'll create a rapid fire turret. Anything can be put in here, from arrows to fire charges to fireworks. This contraption is special because you can extend it horizontally as much as you want. If you're all alone on your tropical island, try adding some hula dancers. Just place an azalea bush, a fence gate, and a flower pot on top. Next, dispense an armor stand into the side and equip it with gear and a head. These dancers can populate your lonely island. By placing 2 vertical trapdoors together, you'll get yourself what looks like a vertical slab. This works particularly well with the spruce trapdoors because the textures perfectly align. Mini robots can also be made by just placing a crafter on top of a grindstone, or a funny one with an opened gate as the feet. Iron trapdoors are the body, and an auto crafter for the head. We'll have lovely robots to keep us company. Normally, flooding your house will be something you want to avoid, but doing so will actually make it so mobs don't spawn inside. However, if you're not looking to devalue your base, you can also just use slabs as the floor, and they'll work too. You can create a nice sushi map by putting a fish in an item frame, and then placing a bamboo pressure plate on top. Just try to ignore the texture glitches. With just a few trapdoors, slabs, and stairs, you can build a kayak. You can then use end rods and mob skulls to build the paddle. Wait, why isn't this moving? Natural lighting is key for any build, but if normal glass blocks aren't doing the job, try exchanging them out with copper grates. You'll have metal windows, and in my opinion, they fit a lot nicer here. They can also be used in some type of prison. If you have a railway system leading underground, you can easily trap it with a detector rail and a piston sending you falling. If you hang some chains from a tree and attach some slabs below, you'll have a swing. Ever wanted to waterboard a villager? To do so, simply put a villager in a cauldron and flip it over using a dinner bone name tag. Chains can then be hung above its feet to make it look like it's being hung there. If you want to keep out monsters off your lawn, do this! Mobs will avoid walking over berry bushes, so just plant them beneath the ground and place carpets on top to blend in with the background. Good luck getting in now. If you place a honeycomb block and then set block a berry bush on top of it, you'll get a tasty looking pineapple. You can also put some sponges in invisible item frames, and they'll look like pineapple slices. By positioning armor stands and equipping them with various gear, you can create a mermaid. This design is impossible in survival mode and has to be done using commands, but it looks pretty cool though. Fish tanks are normally pretty big, but if you want a smaller one, just drop a minecart on some waterlogged sea pickles and any fish inside will stay hydrated. It takes up way less space, and in my opinion looks much more unique. Sculk blocks look surprisingly close to end portal blocks. Using them, we can make a pretty funny recreation of an end portal. We can also use reinforced deep slate and sculk blocks to make it look activated. Trapdoors can be used to create water pipes. The cool thing is that these pipes can actually function to transfer items from one location to another. If you want a simple tiki torch, just prop up a simple pole, place down a campfire on top, and surround it with signs. You'll get a pretty light source that came straight from a tropical island. Using copper stairs and slabs, we can make a funny crab. Heavy cores can even be added on top for some fancy eyes. One of the best ways to hide your base is underwater because very few people actually check there. To make sure no one can find it, choose a spot that has a lot of seagrass and hide the base around the corner so no light goes through. Super secure and efficient. But if you're looking for a house that's hidden but not too small, try a 1-block tall house. To enter, use a trapdoor. And obviously you can't open a chest in here, so you have to use barrels. Although it's a little cramped, it's a pretty nice starter base. The most classic way to protect your base is just by using 2 dirt blocks. To enter and exit, break 2 dirt blocks into the side of the world and almost no one will be able to find it. Just make sure no one is spying on you. Birch planks make a pretty good looking floor, but if you're trying to go for an old worn down look, try mixing in some stripped bamboo logs to look like the floor is fading out. You can create some unique lampposts using tough bricks, warped wood, and copper bulbs. There are all kinds of variations that you can get creative with. One of my favorite designs involves a lamppost with hanging signs around the sides. This particular style adds a charming and functional touch. Instead of using stairs for your roof, try using walls. They'll give your house a more unique look and don't look half bad. This is a ghast house, and it actually works. To build it, just get a ghast in a minecart and push it to the center of your flooring. Then you'll actually be able to enter and access your items. The downside is that you'll have to be in peaceful or creative mode if you don't want the gas blowing up everything. Powdered snow is great for trapping invaders, but the problem is that it's so easy to escape. But you can improve the trap by combining powdered snow with slime blocks. Creating a contraption like this is impossible to escape, even with an efficiency 5 shovel. They'll be goners unless they have a flaming bow or buckets. Someone please let me out! If you're playing on a server, a mailbox is essential. It'll let you deliver presents to your friends while they're offline. You can build an amazing one with a tough wall, auto-crafter, lever, and pressure plate. Honestly, with how easy this is to build, you need one in front of your house. Most people know you can waterlog stairs, but a cool trick to do this with them is to create tiny rivers. You can also add cactus in flower pots to create a miniature desert world. Minecraft beaches can be dangerous because drowned mobs might be lurking in the waters. To mark the safe areas, build a swimming line using glass panes and yellow blocks as buoys to hold it up. To create a bowl of ice cream, start by placing an armor stand in a cauldron and equipping it with a skull. Push it with a piston and then drop it down. Repeat this process with a zombie skull. Finally, push a slab down on top. Okay, you kind of have to squint your eyes for this one. Wind charges are great for boosting yourself, but what if you want to launch even higher? Just place 4 dispensers inward and then fill them up with wind charges. Activating the contraption will boost you into the sky, and it works on other mobs too. You can make a futuristic door with just auto-crafters. Although it won't open, it's a nice decoration for a locked room. The next time you build a dark oak wall, try adding some cartography tables for added detail. They have a vertical texture compared to the horizontal planks, so you can create some interesting appearances with this. Instead of huge 1-block gap rivers, try using waterlogged stairs. They offer a much tighter footprint and are a lot better for smaller water streams. With just some trapdoors, a banner, and a lever, you can create a surfboard in the sand. With just some sand and andesite slabs, you can create a sandbox. However, it might look a little empty. To make it 1,000 times better, use custom heads to add a sand chest, bucket, and castle. Now this is a sandbox. On a sunny Minecraft day, you need to have a barbecue. Just use auto-crafters as the base, surround it with trapdoors, and place campfires underneath. Utensils can also be placed on the side to cook the meat with. Trial spawners are meant for dungeon battles, but they can also be used as storage crates. To create it, simply dig 2 blocks down, place a daylight sensor, a smithing table, and then your trial spawner. Next, dispense an armor stand into the side and equip it with a helmet. Finish it off with a pressure plate and you'll have a crate to store your gear. While glowberries are meant to hang off the ceiling, we can change that. Simply place a potted bamboo underneath a glowberry and you'll have a glowberry plant. By using a lever and some chains, you can hang a lantern from the wall. I love this house! It uses a modular design where you can stack different rooms on top of each other. Lecterns were used as the fencing, and the glass was alternated with panes. It gives the house a unique finish that most houses lack. Ever wanted to place down a book? Well, a pretty convincing way to do this is by dyeing a leather helmet green and then applying the coast armor trim with quartz. Then you can put it on an armor stand and drop it onto 3 layers of snow. Once you push a block into the armor stand, you'll get what looks like a realistic book.